Hello guys, West Country Explorer here, and I thought I'd tell you a little story from my recent walks along the Saxon Shore Way. It's an incident that didn't get mentioned in sort of the videos I was doing on the actual walk itself, but it was quite a funny little incident, so I thought it's worth sharing. So, I mean, as a bit of a background, just to sort of set the scene, when I go on my long walks, I do wild camping. I mean, for those of you that watch my videos of my long walks, you'll have seen sort of I do wild camping here. Just wherever I end up at the end of each day, I tend to set my tent up and all that. Obviously, as you can imagine, when you're camping out in the middle of nowhere, in the woods, in a field, wherever, no wash facilities, so I'm not, no showers, baths or anything like that, so on my walks I'm not tending to wash and that. And I personally, I don't bother changing me clothes either, because my personal view is I don't see the point in putting clean clothes onto a dirty body. Now, I must admit, I do sometimes take a few pairs of socks, so I do sometimes like change socks 2 or 3 times sort of throughout the walk. But apart from that, I'm wearing the same clothes for the whole 7 or 8 days, however long it is I'm doing the walk. So as you can imagine, as the walk progresses, as the days go by, especially when it's sort of like warm weather, I'm getting sweatier and smellier and all the rest. I'm looking more dishevelled. I'm starting to look and smell more and more like a bit of a tramp. Yeah, so I must admit, when I get home from my walks, pretty much the first thing my wife makes me do, unsurprisingly, is to have a shower. You know, she refuses to come near me until I've had a shower and put on clean clothes. So who can blame her? And also, another thing I tend to do when I'm on my long walks is, for my main meal of the day, I tend to stop somewhere during the day, a pub, a cafe, a restaurant, wherever, have my main meal at some kind of a food establishment. That way I don't have to be like carrying a portable stove, a camping stove, to do cooking in the evening. Now, on this last walk, the Saxon Shore Way, for most of the time, for those of you who have watched the videos, you'll know this, for most of the time I'll stop at Wetherspoons pubs. For those of you, any of you non-British viewers watching this video, or indeed who've watched my Saxon Shore Way videos, and you don't know about Wetherspoons, just give you a bit of a backdrop on Wetherspoons. It's a chain of pubs that was set up in '79 by Tim Martin. I think Tim Martin, and it's basically cheap and cheerful establishment, cheap food, cheap drinks, and I mean, to give you an idea, you can get a meal and a drink in there for round about the £5–10 mark, that kind of thing. So yeah, very cheap and cheerful. I mean, Wetherspoons is quite well known for its like ale festivals. I mean, a pint of ale in Spoons is sort of around about the £2.50 mark, whereas in the normal pub, like most other pubs, a pint of ale, you're looking about the £5–6 mark. You know, so, or maybe more. You know, depending sort of whereabouts you are in the country. So a big difference in price. So as you can imagine, Wetherspoons, it has a tendency to attract a certain kind of clientele, people who are on a budget. I mean, well, there was one day I stopped at a Wetherspoons in Faversham. I mentioned it in that particular day's video. I went in there at 8 o'clock as soon as it opened, to get me breakfast, and at the same time I went in, a few old guys went in. This one guy, he had about something like 4 or 5 pints of ale in the space of about 45 minutes. That's kind of typical of people who, that's the kind of clientele that you expect to find in Wetherspoons. So that kind of gives you an kind of idea of what's going on in Wetherspoons, the kind of people you find in there. You know, so people of a limited budget, people who like their drink, you know, that kind of thing. And then there's this one day, I think it was around about day 5, day 6 of my walk. I was in a Wetherspoons for lunch. Off the top of my head, I can't remember which Wetherspoons it was now. It might have been somewhere around about the Dover area, I think. Would it be? Anyway, it was a Wetherspoons. I was about sort of between halfway and 3/4 of the way through my walk. So obviously by this time, I was starting to get a bit on the old smelly side, you know, all dishevelled hair and all the rest. I mean, those of you that have watched the videos, you'll listen to my Saxon Shore way, well, you'll have seen how dishevelled my hair was getting as the walk went on, you know, so I wasn't looking my best, you know, kind of thing. So there I was, having me lunch, minding my own business, just doing my thing and that. There was this couple, I've been vaguely aware of them sort of sitting at another table having their lunch and all the rest. You know, I hadn't really been paying them much attention, but I was just vaguely aware of them. Sort of just, so I'm often vaguely aware of sort of who's around and all the rest. But anyway, yeah. So this one couple, they'd be having their lunch sort of off to my right, and there was this one particular moment. I was in my own little world, just sort of. I think I was just sitting there, sort of with my cup of coffee, had finished my meal. I think I might have been waiting for my pudding to arrive or something like that. And this couple, they walked by, came past my table, and the gentleman, I heard this gentleman sort of give a cheery sort of, "Hello, how you doing? Hope you're well," kind of thing. I sort of looked up and saw he was like talking to me and that. And I was my immediate thought was that he spotted my rucksack and he was like greeting me with the intention of talking to me about my walk and that, sort of see what I was up to, you know. So in my mind, I was expecting him to be like, "Oh, hello, how you doing? You off on a walk," kind of thing. That's not what happened. He was like, "Hello, how you doing? Hope you're all right," kind of thing. As he quietly, surreptitiously leaned in and slipped me a £10 note. He obviously thought I was some kind of a tramp, some kind of a homeless person. And he was giving me money, £10. And I mean my like gut reaction, my instinct, I just instinctively, "Oh, thank you very much, you're too kind, you know," sort of like, as I quietly took the £10 note and sort of surreptitiously put it in her pocket. But then he walked off, and I was like thinking, it suddenly dawned on me that this guy thinks I'm a tramp or something like that. You know, I mean, I couldn't help but smile at the situation. I was just thinking, I think, how bad must I smell to end up being given money in a Wetherspoons, some cheap and cheerful pub, you know. Yeah. I just thought, Gordon Bennett, no, I do need to get home and have a wash, you know. I mean, I didn't dare go and tell the guy. You know, I didn't have the heart to run after him, and well, to be honest with you, at that point my feet were aching so much I don't think I could have rushed after him. But I didn't have the heart to run after him and say, "Hang on a minute, no, I'm not a tramp. I'm just on a long walk," kind of thing. I thought if I did that, that might embarrass the poor bloke, and I didn't want to embarrass him, you know. The guy had done good. He had good intentions. As far as he was concerned, he saw someone that he thought was in need, and he was giving help. You know, I didn't want to embarrass the guy, so I just thought, Weatherspoons is like where the cheap and cheerful people go, and I'm in there and I'm being given money, you know. But I mean, I did put that money, well, to my mind, I put that money to good use, because I didn't want to waste it, because I mean, that bloke gave it to me in good faith, you know, he was given to me because he wanted to do good. So I thought, I've got to put this money to good use. I think it was the next day, the day after I'd been given this tenner, in this church. Yeah, it was now this is something that did appear in one of my videos. It was a church where they had sort of various homemade produce in the porchway, and I picked up 4 jars of homemade jam. They were £2.50 a jar. So I spent the tenner on homemade jam, and it's one of those things where you put the money in the situation where you put the money in the like the donation box by the entrance door. So yeah, that I think the church would be putting that money to good use. I like to think they would be. Yeah, so that tenner that guy gave me, I spent it on homemade jam from a church. So yeah, but it's just the fact that I got money in the Weatherspoons. I must have been proper stinky and dirty looking, you know. But I mean, that bloke, bless him, heart of gold, that guy to done something like that. He didn't have to do that. So yeah, big respect for that guy. I appreciate the fact he took time out to actually do something like that. Restores my faith in humanity a bit. So yeah, there's still good people out there. Yeah, but that's just a little story I thought I'd share with you guys. It's the kind of incident that makes me, I look back on it and makes me chuckle and makes me smile at the same time, if that makes sense. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. And in the meantime, the usual, stay safe, take care.